My name's Nicole Garner. I am a real estate broker. The name of my company is Colener Realty. So we help buyers, sellers, landlords, tenants find home.
I love that.
Yeah.
And now tell me, could you share what inspired you to pursue a career in real estate and how your experiences have shaped your approach in the industry?
Yeah. So I'll be pretty transparent here.
Thank
I've
you.
been in real estate for about 8 years now. And really, what kind of motivated me, my background, so my degree is in IT. So I was a government contractor for many
Okay.
years. But I'm sure as you get older, you kind of think about, more purposeful things,
Yeah.
right? So um, that mixed with kind of what the future holds in a way to kind of build wealth and real estate piqued my interest. So I've been a landlord for about 10 years now and wanted to continue to grow my portfolio.
Hmm.
So I got my real estate license with the intention on building capital and learning more about real estate.
Yeah.
What I did not expect is how much I would enjoy helping
Mm.
people in real estate. So that's kind of my why and what I do.
Yeah.
So as an agent for 7 years, last year I kind of wanted to level up. So I got my broker's license, opened my own firm with the intent on
Wow.
cultivating an environment more in line with my core values, and then allow me to be a little bit more flexible for my clients,
Yeah,
and then hopefully invite agents and brokers who are like-minded. So
absolutely.
yeah.
That is awesome. Is that kind of like what inspired you to make, I guess, your own firm as opposed to going to one and working for somebody else?
Yeah, so I've been first firm I worked for was Remax. I was there for 5 years, loved it. A lot of professional development. That broker retired and closed the office,
Mm.
so I went to Sampson Properties, which is very agent friendly. No issues with the brokerage, but it was more focused on who I wanted to be,
Yeah,
what I wanted to do, how I wanted to
your
serve.
aspirations. Yeah.
So yeah, and just being your own boss offers you,
Oh, yeah.
it's a ton of responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
but it also offers you a bit more flexibility,
Yeah.
right? So that was more of the motivation. I wanted to be flexible. I didn't want to have to get buy-in from someone else to allow me to serve in the way that I wanted to serve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then how many people do you have on your team?
So I just have one agent now.
Okay.
The intention is to grow. I still would like to remain a boutique firm,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I don't necessarily have dreams of like a
It's
huge
huge, big old.
firm or franchise, but I want it to be. I'm going to be particular with who joins me at the firm.
I love
So
that.
like I said, I want it to be like-minded, folks that are there to, serve the community, right? And they can also build wealth themselves while helping other folks build wealth.
Absolutely.
So
I love it.
yeah.
And then what type of marketing are you doing for your business to get the word out there? Are you going to events like network events? Are you on social media making videos? What's working, what's not working?
So marketing is a whole monster in and of
Mm-hmm.
itself, and it continues to be one of those. It's like two full-time jobs in and of itself. So I am on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I have a website, and I'm beefing up the network and the marketing. So
Okay.
this past Friday, there was an Empower Her Global Business Summit at MGM. So I was there, got to meet a bunch of wonderful, lovely women. We got to talk about our pluses in the business and some of the kind of the challenges that come along with
Yeah.
being small businesses, starting your firm, or those that have even been in business for quite a while.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to beef up the networking a little bit, trying to stay ahead of the social media monster and
Yeah.
algorithm. I do a lot of email marketing, so my particular sphere of influence and clients tend to respond a little bit more in that realm.
The email world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And sometimes I think it's a particular demographic, right?
That, yep.
But I would like to touch the social media, some of the folks that kind of
Yeah,
feed off
just
of social
expand your
media.
reach.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up sometimes,
Oh, I
like
know.
the videos, because you're doing your business, right? And then marketing is a part that comes with it,
Yep.
but
It's a lot.
yeah,
It's a
it
lot.
is. Good grief.
I believe in you though. You're gonna attack this and you're gonna nail it.
It's help. That's all this is.
Yep.
It's not something that I can do alone.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's help. So hopefully I'll have someone aboard starting on
Yes.
Monday
Ooh,
that will be
knock
able
on wood.
to,
Yeah.
take on that
I
monster.
love that.
So
That's great. That's exciting for you. And then Let's see. Your firm emphasizes empowering clients in their real estate journeys. How do you educate and inspire clients to make informed
So
decisions?
that's a big thing for me. So I am very particular about making sure that you are educated in what you're doing, right? I tell people all the time, I don't make decisions for adults. I want to give you the information. I want to explain the particular process or what your options are. And I want you to make choices that are best for you as an individual or your family. So that's just, whether it's being on a call for an hour and a half explaining, what a particular approach in terms of, if I'm working with a seller, you have a series of offers, right? You've got multiple offers and walking through what each one kind of means,
Yeah,
right? How it serves you and what your bottom line might be. So it's
absolutely.
not just, hey, I think this is the best offer for you. It is, this is what this offer looks like. This is how it relates to kind of what we've discussed,
Yes.
prior to
Case
being
by
to
case.
this
Yeah.
point,
Hmm.
what you were looking for. Um, whether it's the seller side and the buyer side, right? Things are ever changing. I
Yep.
am licensed in 4 different jurisdictions.
Oh, where?
So I am licensed in Maryland, DC, Virginia, and Pennsylvania.
Nice.
And then so each of those come with different, laws, right? Rules and regulations. And in this area, you get people that kind of traverse
Hmm.
those boundaries and they're like, hey, well, we didn't do that in Virginia. Yeah, well, you're in Maryland
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. That part.
It's a little bit different, but I am huge on education. I feel
Absolutely.
like that, again, I want to empower people. I don't want to get at the end of a transaction and someone feels like I tricked them or they didn't
Yeah.
understand what they were signing up for.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm huge on education,
Yeah.
huge on transparency,
Yeah.
right?
Transparency. That's the word.
And there are certain things that I, as a licensed individual, can't do, and things even as a consumer you might be able to, but I still educate people on how it can look from a different perspective,
Yeah.
right? So while you might be able to do it, you probably want to shy away from it
Hmm.
because this might be how it's perceived, which is why
Absolutely.
we as agents and brokers aren't allowed to move in that way.
Mm.
So it's kind of that, I can get a little long winded at times, but I feel
Doing
like
that
it
dance.
serves, yeah, and then you want to be educated, right? You don't want to feel like you're tricked. You want to be
Yeah.
empowered. You want to feel like I'm making a choice, not my agent is making a choice or any other entity in the transaction is
Yeah.
making a choice.
I like the
So, yeah,
I like the way you
I'm
look
big
at
on it.
that. Like it's
Yeah.
like giving them the choice. You're giving them the options and they're picking, and then you give them more information on this option versus that option and how it could go. So
Yeah.
I like that.
I provide a service.
Yes,
That's what this is. I provide a service. You have a
absolutely.
goal or a problem in many cases. I am providing you with options. I'm providing a service.
And
I'm not,
solutions, yeah,
yeah, I'm not there to tell you what to
to
do
do.
and how to do it.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Great outlook on that. What do you think are three key components that a real estate agent should have or that clients should be looking out for?
Ooh. Okay, so real estate is a people business, point blank, period. If you don't like people,
Well, I got news for you. Yeah.
if you don't, if it's frustrating, like we were saying, to educate, or you feel like that's not part of what you do, it's is probably not the line of work for you.
Hmm.
So it is a people business. So you have to understand the nature of relationships, right?
Absolutely.
You've also got to be organized and on top of things. All
Mhm.
right. So we're dealing with some big numbers. There are deadlines. And if you, as an agent, are unaware of those or don't find them important, you risk your client's money and lots of it.
Reputation
Um,
and trust too.
yeah, very much so. And then just kind of what you said, it's integrity, right? So sometimes it's easy to do the easy thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
But, we have laws and rules and ethics for a reason. And as uncomfortable as some of the conversations may be at times, you need to have those conversations, right? At the end of the day, consumers are coming to us for that service that we provide, for that, they want to be advised based on their situation. And you need to, not take the shortcuts.
Exactly.
So, people services, integrity. And Organized seems kind of like, but no, you need to be on top of things.
Exactly. No. Imagine being like disorganized and like, wait, I'm sorry, I lost that. Where is it? Like,
You
no.
do, because you're also managing multiple clients at one
That's
time.
right.
So I think the thought is it's easier than it is. And I don't think that this is difficult work, but
You got to stay on
it's
top.
you have to stay on top of things and
Hmm.
managing it. There's people that are there to help you, right? But at the end of the day, you're on the hook
Yeah,
for,
exactly.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And then I just want to move your screen. Don't worry, this will not make it in there. But I just want to
Uh-oh.
move your mic a little bit because I
Is it
think the
coming up?
button is like pressing on the mic right here,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna move it up.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's see. Go like this a little bit. Like, give me some Italian.
Hey.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't hear anything. Beautiful. We're back. Wonderful. Okay. Let me go back to my note. Where was I? Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Of course.
And then, with the current housing shortage projected to reach nearly 4 million homes by 2024, how do you guide clients through the challenges of limited inventory and rising prices?
Ooh, that is a phenomenal question. And I talk about this often. So I think folks need to be a little bit more creative, and have honest conversations with themselves. So one of the things that I recently talked, actually yesterday, so let's, we all have to live somewhere, right?
Yep.
And as folks are aging out, for example, and when I'm saying creative ways, I'm going to give you like one example. Your parents are getting older, they're looking to downsize. Why not swap houses, right?
Mm,
Why not, as they're transitioning to, a warmer climate or looking to be on something that makes a little bit more sense where they can age in place, why not be in the childhood home that you grew up in,
yeah.
right? I get a lot of questions for multi-generational living, right? Or, where you can have more than one family under a roof at a time.
Hmm.
You also they're changing some of the zoning regulations where you can do ADUs, right? So those are auxiliary dwelling units. So you have a home, you have enough land to create a smaller unit in the back, and now you become a
Nice.
landlord. So there are creative ways that we as a society can help this.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the way I encourage people, right?
Hmm.
Just let's get creative about what you're looking for, what you need, what you want. We've got these big, huge houses. We're not using a lot
Hmm.
of them.
Yes.
And I get it. There are security concerns or people don't want to share their homes with strangers. But there are ways that we can be a little bit creative in terms of the shortage and affordability. So it's kind
Yes.
of, like two in one, so to speak.
Absolutely.
But that's my positive hope. We live in a very expensive area,
We do.
so
We
I
do.
have to have those conversations with folks. But there's ways that professionals can help you reach your goals. But we do have to be honest and realistic about what we want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For sure. And I want to ask you, how do you stay up to date on the latest trends, laws, policies that are ever changing for you guys in the real estate
Oh
world?
yeah. So the real estate commission helps us with that.
Good.
So,
Thank goodness.
but we're required to continue in education credits, right? So every 2 years you are required to do things like legislative update,
Mm,
right? So that's going to keep you in the know about what's going on. You're required to be part of, well, I'll say you're required. In our area, most of us are required to be part of a local board, right? So that's a local real estate association, which kind of rolls you up into the state association and then the National Association of Realtors, right?
beautiful.
They're constantly disseminating information, right? It's in our best interest.
Yes.
There are webinars, seminars, networking events.
Wow.
Our industry keeps us fairly
Up to date.
up to date. And
Hmm.
then I subscribe to all of the local county and some of the municipalities. They have state sponsored or local sites where you can go and you register and you get a newsletter once a week. Some places like Baltimore inundates me every day. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's good problem
Yes,
to
yes,
have,
yes.
right? It's
Yes.
a requirement, but that's what helps us stay in the know. And I tell people all the time, we don't know everything because, at the state level, laws change at a certain time, but then you have the county, and then in some cases, you're going to have that local jurisdiction
Yep.
or that municipality. But there are ways to get information, but for the most part, I'm lazy in that regard. I prefer it come to my inbox. So
Yeah, just bring it on in with my cup of coffee on the couch.
that's
But I
it.
learned. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
But that's the way we kind of stay in the know.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And then let's see. I got so many questions that I want to ask
Let's go
you.
for it.
Thank you. Given the recent fluctuations in interest rates
Ooh,
and their impact on buyer affordability,
sure.
what strategies do you recommend to clients to navigate these challenges effectively, besides
Yeah.
working with you?
Well, so yeah, interest rates are a big thing, right? And especially as we compare them to, the pandemic era, right? When you're kind of like sub 3.5%, and now we're kind of teetering upper sixes and the sevens.
Mhm.
And this goes back to strategizing, right? So you have in the mortgage world, you can do buy downs, right? So
Mhm.
that is where you're paying a lower rate for a period of time, and then the rate will
Go up.
slowly go up.
Mhm.
Why we're kind of doing that in some cases is the hope that there will be an opportunity in that window
Mm.
where the rates will be lower, and then now you can get into a fixed lower rate, right?
Okay.
With the interest rates obviously affects your buying power. So sometimes the truth of the matter is, while you might have wanted to, your budget was a $500,000 home at, a 5% interest rate, you might now be at, 4.25 at 7%. So
Yeah.
it's really your scenario and what you want to do. There are programs that help with down payment assistance and
Mhm.
closing costs. So the more money you're in a position to put down or leverage some of those programs can help to offset the rate.
Okay.
So those are the discussions that I'm having with
Your
potential
clients.
buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're having them with your sellers too, because they need to be aware of how we price a home, right? And what to expect, from the market. It's not that we can't get you what you want, but the days of a home being off the market in most markets in 3 days are
Yeah.
in the past for right
Yes.
now.
Yes. Thank
But a
you.
normal
Yeah.
market is good, right?
Mhm.
We like normalcy, right? We
We
like
do.
balance,
Mhm.
So
Not chaos,
right,
balance.
exactly.
Please.
So
Please, no chaos.
it wasn't fun for agents either,
No, no.
So it's just because you're managing expectations. We do a lot, right? And you just balance just is the name of the game in life.
I love it.
So
No, and
yeah,
you're here to make that easier for people, giving them those options to help make
yeah,
that process smoother for them. It's not
yeah.
going to always be perfect, but you're
No.
going to try your best, right?
That's it,
Mhm.
and at least, and that's the other thing, because I constantly get the question, is now a good time to buy? Should I
Yes.
wait? This, that, and the other. And my answer remains the same, regardless of the market. You need to know where you stand now and keep your eye on the market. And when an opportunity presents itself that makes sense for you, that's when you pull the trigger. That's
Yes.
it. It doesn't change in the market.
I love that.
It doesn't.
Period.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Stay ready. You ain't got to get
Mhm.
ready.
Yeah, get ready right now as we speak. All right. So, in what ways does your business engage with the local community, and how do these efforts contribute to your company's mission and values?
Yeah. So being a new startup, we as a company haven't quite gotten there, but I volunteer with my local organization, which is called Fort Washington Forward. So they formed in December of 2022, I think.
Okay.
And I think it was fairly awesome because we kind of they started out as a little Facebook group. And then
Oh.
from there, they just wanted to be more impactful. So with that inspiration, is where I spend kind of most of my time.
Okay. And what do
Um,
they do? I'm sorry.
it's called Fort Washington Forward. So I am a Fort Washington resident, and their goal is to move the city forward. So they're big
Okay.
on
Got it.
development,
Thank you. I'm sorry.
community. No, that's all right. I didn't explain it that well. They're big on commercial development in the community, kind of a community feel. Right now, we're toying with the talks of maybe becoming a municipality. But so that's where I spend a lot of my time. They introduced a farmers market to the community
Wonderful.
2 summers ago, maybe. So I didn't have an opportunity to volunteer a lot last year, but the year before, their kind of pilot farmers market, I volunteered there.
That's
So
awesome.
that's what I do personally. I need to do a little bit more. I'm working on it.
It's okay.
But
We all get busy sometimes, but hey.
starting up the brokerage and trying to, manage all other aspects of life becomes
Absolutely.
challenging. But I do what I can.
Yeah, I know. You only have so many hours in a day,
You do. So when I can't, I will donate.
There you
Sometimes
go.
sometimes it's the easy out, but you either have time or money.
Exactly.
You
It's that
rarely
balance
have
we talked
both.
about.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
You rarely have both.
Absolutely. And then considering current trends, where do you see the real estate market heading in the next 5 years, particularly in the DC metro area?
It's going to keep booming here.
Mm.
And for obvious reasons, right? You've got the federal government here. There's been a lot of development in tech, right? Northern Virginia is a powerhouse when it comes to that. Amazon Q2, large data
Oh,
centers.
yes.
Um, where we're placed just strategically makes things easy, right? There's a lot of opportunity in the area. So I think the market's going to continue to appreciate
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Some folks will love it. Some folks will be like, ah. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be any slump.
Slow. Yeah.
Yeah, in the next 5 years. We might get, like I said, we're moving more back towards a balanced market. But so the prices may not continue. They won't continue to appreciate in the rate that they were in the recent past.
Hmm.
But I don't see there's not going to be a downturn in this
Okay.
area.
Yeah. Well,
I
thanks
don't
for that
foresee it.
insight.
Yeah. Even
Sounds
with the
good.
shakeup with, kind of what's going on
Yeah.
with the new administration.
Hmm.
But even that, I think is going to sort itself out in a way that, will continue to appreciate in the
Grow.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And now, what do you like to do outside of real estate? What is making you happy? Do you have any? Well, this makes you happy, but the happy outside of the work happy.
I've become a little bit of an old lady. I hang around the house quite a bit,
Me
but I
too.
used to be a big traveler. So I've had the opportunity to go professional and personal. And then of course there's always the ever ending foodie.
Oh
So
yes,
yeah.
gotta love food. What are your favorite foods?
I'm kind of all over the place. There's
Okay.
probably not a genre of food that I don't enjoy,
Okay.
right? So whether it's Italian, Greek food, I love a Mediterranean
Oh, me
diet.
too. Oof.
I live for sushi.
Yes.
It doesn't, yeah. Your girl
Even
likes to eat.
yeah, yeah, me too, girl. I know that feeling. Trust me. I love food.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it. And then, I've got a couple young nieces and nephews. So they were over this weekend.
Oh.
I love them and then they drive me crazy simultaneously. So we headed down to Smithsonian, went to the
Nice.
American History Museum. So I enjoy my time with them too.
Good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. I love that little balance with family and
Yeah,
work and being
they're
like
they're just, I don't know, they're just adorable. But like I said, they drive me insane sometimes too.
in the best way.
Yeah,
I know.
they're super smart now. I'm like, I don't remember being
This
this.
smart, right? I think
Yeah,
that too. Like they're so good with makeup. They're smarter. I'm just like, how I
it's
did not look this good back then.
the vocabulary is insane. They're 5 and 8, and I'm like,
Oh, that's young.
where they are. But I think sometimes I think it's the technology too.
Mm.
It's kind of advanced them to
I know,
some
right? It
degree.
makes me curious, like where they're gonna be, like when they're 10 or 15.
I
Like, oh
think
my goodness.
my niece's vocabulary is just insane.
I love you. And then, how do you manage the demands of running a real estate firm while maintaining a fulfilling personal life? And what advice do you have for others striving for this balance?
I don't have any advice. There's no balance. You just fit it
You
in where
just
you
wing
can.
it,
Like
girl.
it's yeah. Something.
Something.
I, you just do what you can. I think you prioritize the activities for that day.
Yeah.
And, sometimes today is, of the 5 things you're going to work on, 4 of them are business and 1 is personal. And then there's other days where 4 of them are personal
That's
and
right.
1's business. I'm still trying to figure out balance. I don't know that I know it exists. I think you just try and figure it out the best way
I agree.
that you can. Yeah. I like to believe at some point in time it'll be better balanced, but
It's kind of going through that experience though and
it
figuring out like, whoa, I'm
is.
never doing that again, or like this worked.
Yeah, and you also depend on people who are further down the road than you to
Hmm.
kind of, gauge what worked for them potentially or
Yeah.
what's working. But those conversations usually end with there is no balance. You just
Mm.
figure out where you're prioritizing
I
for the
love
day.
that. That's a good
Yeah.
answer.
I mean,
It's honest. I like it. It's not like, oh yeah, I just schedule
no.
my thing. Like
Yeah,
you're just
yeah. Some days there are, yeah. The list hasn't gotten worked. I've had to prioritize, client calls over actually doing, marketing or maybe some other business administration
yeah.
activities. And before I used to beat myself up, and now
Oh
it's just
yeah.
like, we'll get to it tomorrow.
Yes.
Nobody died.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not heart surgery over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody died. Your client's money's okay. Your money's okay.
Yes.
The
All is
kids are
good.
okay. Like,
Yeah.
nobody died.
I like that.
We're
And
good.
that only comes through experience though, because in the beginning, like you freak out and you're just like, oh
Oh,
my God, I gotta do this right now. Gotta put everything down.
yeah. It just, I joke because, again, getting a little bit older, things are
Ever changing,
9
shifting.
o'clock is like, okay, lights
Good
out.
night.
Whereas it before, you could like burn the midnight oil and not impact you as much.
Yeah.
Whereas it now, it's like, no. But I wake up better and refreshed versus
Yes.
trying to push through and
Mm.
then you're groggy or foggy the next day.
Yes. I know
So
that feeling.
yeah, you just do the best that you can and prioritize what you need for that day. And
Yeah.
then the next day, the priorities may or may not shift.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I have not touched on that perhaps you would like to share with our listeners or your listeners? You have the floor, whether it's in regards of yourself,
Uh,
your business.
you kind of hit it, right? So as a new small business, you're always looking for, new ways to grow and, clients as well as, partnering with agents. But my goal is to let folks know I'm here for education, transparency, and empowerment,
I love it.
right? So it's not just buying and selling, it's all your real estate needs, right? I get a lot of questions from folks that have lost loved ones. They want to know
Oh,
what to do with the house. Folks that, are in a particular situation, they want to know what their options are. And sometimes I can't help them, but I have a phenomenal resource for them. So
beautiful.
I just consider myself a trusted advisor. And like I said, I'm above board, and whether I can help someone or not, I'm willing to point them in the right direction for someone with similar integrity that
I love that.
can.
That's awesome, man.
You're so sweet.
Thank you. You too. And you're fun to interview.
Uh,
Now, my final
sure.
question. You're gonna be like, you put me on the spot. Everyone says that every time I ask this, but do you
Oh
have a
no.
favorite quote, saying, or mantra, or something that somebody has told you in your career or your life that resonated or inspired you? Would you mind sharing that?
Yeah, so there used to be like a couple sayings that I used to say all the time. One used to be in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Mm,
Um, and then I am going to butcher the other one. It was like
it's
a
okay.
Sanskrit where it is better to live your life imperfectly than to live the version of someone else's life
Ooh,
perfectly.
man.
So, which both kind of resonate with me, but definitely the latter one because, just be you, right?
Yes.
You know,
It'll all work out.
it will, there's only one you,
Yes. And that's what
whatever
makes
that
you
looks
you.
like.
Yeah, I love it. No,
Yeah.
these are great. Great nuggets of
So
wisdom here. Thank you.
you did put me on the spot, but I got it.
See, I told you. No, you played that off so well. I could not even, I was like, dang, I didn't get her. It's okay.
I got it.
Yes, you did. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was a pleasure, and I just appreciate your time so much.
Thank you, Lil. Love
You're
being
welcome.
here.
Yeah, absolutely, Nicole.